Great to hear the performance from the Poinciana Jazz Band outside as well. I would ask if you would please silence any electronic devices that you might have with you at this time to avoid disruptions during our meeting. We're blessed tonight to have Pastor Pedro Lozada from Fruit of the Vine Church in Kissimmee who will be leading us in our invocation. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be by the St. Cloud High School Junior ROTC, who I see lined up outside. Our national anthem will be sung by Ayana Nash, senior choir major at Osceola School for the Arts. We'll have our mission statement read by Linda Harwood, principal at Neptune Elementary. And as usual, Dahlia, we appreciate you being here. We'll be providing translation services. I'd ask if you please stand at this time for our invocation, our pledge, and our national anthem.
Good afternoon to all, and thanks for inviting me to present and pray this meeting and create a positive atmosphere full of friendship, understanding, and respect. I want to thank Mr. Tim for inviting me on this afternoon. Then, as a student, father, and grandfather, I want to thank you all for being influence and guidance to all students, those who are the future leaders, presidents, and our national workforce. I encourage you all to continue giving the best effort you can and not to give up, because many successful men and women were influenced in their academic years by teachers as you, who are present today in the education of our children. Now, as an ordained pastor and servant of the Lord of Glory, I ask you to please bow your head and put yourself for a moment in contact with your Lord. I quote the Bible in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 16, where Paul said, "Who has known the mind of the Lord? Who will advise him? But we have the mind of Christ." Amen. From the deepest of my heart, I pray the Lord of the heaven to join you in this meeting, so you will have understanding to know each other, capacity for dialogue, and to hear the views and thoughts of others, and a spirit of collaboration among all to discover the truth and make fair and accurate decisions. That this meeting will help you develop a common spirit, enrich the knowledge, respect, and appreciation among all. In the holy name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. This time, Junior RTC.
Detail, attention, forward, march. Mark time, march. Left, detail, halt. Left face. Present arms. Recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arms. Right face. Forward, march. Left, 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 left.
Good evening, Ms. Ashley.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly wheeled at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets had cleared, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, see does that star-spangled
Thank you. You may be seated at this time. And now for the reading of our mission statement, Ms. Harwood.
Good evening. The mission statement of the School District of Osceola County is education which inspires all to their highest potential.
Thank you, ma'am.
My name is Dalia Medina. I'm here to provide translation services. Mi nombre es Dalia Medina. Estoy aquí para proveer servicio de traducción. Gracias.
Thank you. And I want to extend again a thanks to Pastor Lozada, the junior ROTC at St. Cloud High School, and Ms. Nash, again, senior choral major at Osceola School for the Arts. We appreciate you being with us this evening. Board, at this time, we will come to positive comments from board members. I'm actually going to start with Mr. Booth, if I may.
I was a rep. No, check.
Go in a different order.
That's fine. Thank you all for being here tonight. Just real quickly, wanted to thank Dr. Brizendine and the staff at Parton Settlement Elementary for having me out on the reflective visit. I thought it was outstanding. They asked me to participate more than I really wanted to, but I did. But I appreciate it. I think those are some great things. I know we discussed it earlier in the workshop, but I think we're doing some great things there. Want to thank the media and technology staff here at the district for hosting the Leadership Osceola team on Wednesday. We got to see all the neat gadgets and toys that we have in a lot of our schools. Got to see the Microsoft 365 program and the Outlook email program that's available to our students. I know I've had a discussion with Melba and Mrs. Marino about extending that outstanding program to our teachers, and I hope we're going to get there soon. I want to give a really big thank you to everybody who worked on the Acclaim Academy. You're probably going to hear that 5 times, but I don't think it can be said enough. I appreciate all the work you guys did for those kids and resolving that situation. And lastly, want to give a big thank you to Wild Florida and our business partners and the Oasis team for hosting our appreciating our volunteers. I had a chance to go down there, which I cheat a little bit because it's basically right across the street from my house. Had a chance to go down there and thank those volunteers as well. But congratulations to those guys, and thank you to those guys for hosting those folks.
Thank you. Mr. Thacker?
Ricky's right. You're going to probably hear 5 times on the Acclaim Academy outcome. Larry Brown and your staff and Melba and your staff shows what teamwork can be done to basically take over a business or get positioned to take over a business. And 10 or 15 working days, all to the benefit of those 300 and some odd kids that are out there. It's going to help them through testing. It's helping the parents. It's helping the whole community that we can be able to do that. So I reiterate what Rick said. Congratulations, and thank you very, very much for all that effort that took place. Also, I think it was about a week ago, and we had an intergovernmental meeting between the 2 cities and ourselves and Osceola County Commission to kind of talk about some strategic long-term direction and vision. It was the first meeting that I believe has been held in more than 5 years, I think, with that group. So some progress was made. Everybody kind of agreed that we have to do something, and kind of agreed we'll work together, and we will meet again in a few weeks to continue that discussion. And I want to also congratulate our Counselor and Career Specialist of the Year, who I believe are here and will be recognized individually in a few minutes. But congratulations, great achievement, and with that.
Thank you, sir. I'll just echo the sentiments on Acclaim Academy. Melba, I really appreciated your staff being there, working so hard and sharing such great information with the parents and the students that were in attendance. It's a very difficult situation, as we all know, to navigate, but yet, as the other board members have shared, and I'm sure others will, this board remained unified from the onset about what we need to do to make sure that that situation was always made right for the students, and your staff rallied right alongside with all of that, lockstep, each step of the way. And we know that there's still a lot of work to be done before we get there, but we want you to know how much we appreciate everything that you've been doing to get us there. So, thank you. Mr. Soto.
Thank you. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, It is the one that is most adaptable to change. Jay, who's that? Darwin. And for this school district,
The math earlier.
I put you on the spot because I knew you could come through. And this district has done the same. And it's very, very important for leadership, staff, our teachers, everyone, that we allow ourselves to change, that we do not that we're not fixed in our mindsets, that we're not fixed in how we view things and how we deal with the challenges that come doing the same thing from before. What we face is always a new circumstance, a new situation, and we need to adapt to that change. And in the spirit of Darwin, I would say that this district is definitely adapting and evolving to better able to go ahead and do its mission of educating our kids. Our success in dealing with the acclaim issue, being able to follow it, I just have to say I wasn't very surprised. This is what this school district has done before, and I encourage that they continue with the spirit of change. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. Mr. Wheeler?
Well, I've got to just echo again, having with Clay, Melvin, your staff did a great job, Mr. Brown did a great job. I know it wasn't easy, and we were going into it, unfortunately, as an adversary, because that is what the acclaimed CEO really chose that path, but it all worked out, and really the bottom line is 360 kids are where they need to be and where they're going to be taken care of through the end of the school year, which is very important. I've got a few other people I need to recognize also. I want to recognize Wendy Honeycutt and her staff at Bella Lago Academy. I did a reflective visit out there. She's got some great teachers. So I think it was you, Dr. Brisden. I was in one of the classes, and you said that was one of your students who was now one of the teachers. I wasn't sure it was you. It was one of you.
She's not old enough for that to be the case, Mr. Wheeler.
Well, maybe it was Mr. Allen. Yes. Okay, I apologize. Mr. Allen is much older. I apologize, Dr. Brisden. Then also, I want to recognize at Osceola High School, wrestling coach Jim Bird for another championship season, and Fox Baldwin, who is getting a full ride to University of Virginia, another championship season for him. I want to also recognize at Celebration High School, Mary Hernandez, one of the guidance counselors there, and a school psychologist, Brenda Duran. I worked with them on a student issue. They were professional, they were prepared, and everything worked out great, so I just want to recognize those people tonight. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. Superintendent?
Just thank you so much for sharing with us your appreciation in regards to what we've done with Acclaim, and just wanted you to know that as every day progresses, we find more and more things that we need to do. You know, you're talking about, well, what about the phone bill? What about lawn maintenance? All of those things, and we're looking through contracts, and there are other departments that are so involved in this, especially right now with our Stacy McMillan with purchasing and contracts. So I wanted to thank her as well, because as we go down this road, it becomes more and more complex. But this entire staff works so diligently, so I too want to say thank you to them. And board, I want to share with you how much I appreciate you asking so many questions today during our workshop in regards to curriculum and instruction, and hoping that you were able to get a little glimpse of what we do on a daily basis. Because as those principals said, this is just a little bit of what we do. There's so much more. So thank you for participating for that, hour and a half there, and giving the attention that we all deserve and need, and learning more about what we do in our classrooms. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, at this time, board, we do need to move into our public hearing, and so at that time, we'll call that public hearing to order. And Dahlia, I'm going to come to you at this time, as I know that you're going to cover our ESOL World Language Instructional Material Adoption.
Good evening. Today we have a public hearing regarding the world languages and ESOL adoption. DOE, in their wisdom, always changing the rules. We have a new policy, which is a good policy, which is including parent input. So now we have a new timeline, and in the past, for those of you that don't understand how we adopt books, but in October, DOE sent out a list of publishers. We have publishers' presentation. We have a committee of teachers, and this year we're including the parents on our committee to select, to cut the list down to 2 publishers, and then it goes out to the schools that every world language teacher and every high school ESOL teachers were able to review the materials. They voted in February, and the new thing is that we had to notify the public of what was the recommendation that's going to be presented to the board. So I did that by conducting an IRIS phone call to all the parents involved. We posted the publishers' information on our website, and for 2 days we had the hard copies displayed here at the district office for people that don't have access to the website. And right now in my office I have all the books displayed if anyone would like to review them. At this time, we're open for public hearing. We want to know, the goal is what the opinion of the public is, their opinion. Then after that, in the April meeting, then you will vote whether to adopt the books or not. And then the parents have another 30 days to voice their opinion or their concerns if we have any materials they object to. And then in May, we bring it back to the board for the final vote.
Thank you, Dahlia. So as mentioned, this is a public hearing. If there's anyone from the public that would like to speak on this particular item, I would invite you at this time. Okay, hearing and seeing none, Dahlia, I'll come back to you to close that down for us.
Okay, so there's no comment. As I said before, the adoption will be presented to the board April 7th, and then the parents will have 30 days to respond. You will respond by contacting the multicultural department, the district office, or we have forms now the parents could fill out if they wish. The forms will be available 30 days after April 7th. Thank you.
Thank you, Dahlia. So at this time, we will adjourn from our public hearing. We'll move into a workshop. Mr. Boyd, I'll come to you regarding our proposed school board rules.
Good evening, board. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We have a full set of changes, but I'm going to do my best to summarize them for the sake of time. The first change is a proposed new school board rule, 4.61, security of tests. It establishes the roles and responsibilities related to maintaining the security of state and local assessments. And this policy is recommended from our consultants, Educational Management Consultant Services. The next set of changes are all language changes. Rule 2.70, prohibiting discrimination, including sexual or other forms of harassment, revises paragraphs 1A, 1C, 4A, 6A1 in order to comply with Executive Order 13672 and related federal regulations regarding equal employment opportunity. This revision is required. Rule 4.15, physical education, revises paragraph 1, deletes citation 1003.428 because the law repealed. The revision is required. Rule 4.30, challenged materials, revises policy consistent with 1000.28, adds citation 1006.28, reformats the policy, and adds that the policy is required. This revision is required. Rule 4.60, district and statewide assessment programs, adds paragraph 3 in order to comply with section 100822 Florida statutes that require school boards to adopt policies for selection, development, administration, and scoring of local assessments, and for the collection of these assessment results. There's a grammatical correction in the title, and this revision is required. Rule 5.14, homeless students, revises paragraph 2C, 3, and 12, adds citation 743.067. Revision is recommended. Rule 5.70, student records, adds paragraphs 2, 3, and 5, revises 7A, adds citation 1002.222, Florida statutes. The revisions recommended. Rule 6.321, employee use of cellular phones, revises paragraph 2D to clarify the possible consequences for an employee who uses a personal cellular telephone or other personal communication device to conduct district business. The next rule changes are all citation changes. I will list the rule number and title for sake of time. Rule 3.50, public information and inspection of records. Rule 4.10, the curriculum. Rule 4.11, student progression plan. Rule 4.117, early high school graduation. Rule 4.20, distribution and use of funds for instructional materials. Rule 4.21, selection and management of instructional materials. Rule 5.62, administration of medication. Rule 5.71, directory information. Rule 6.40, assessment of employees. Rule 6.90, personnel records. The remaining changes are all related to the student progression plan. Changes at all levels include replaces Florida Comprehensive Assessment Test, FCAT, with Florida Standards Assessment, FSA, throughout where appropriate. There's a change that also revises policy language regarding grading of student work to reflect standards-based grading practices so that a student's grades reflect mastery of state standards. There's a change at the middle school level that revises policy language regarding the requirements for participation in the middle school acceleration program, the inclusion of course grades for accelerated courses into the student's high school GPA, grade point average, and credits earned toward high school graduation. The next set of changes are all high school student progression plan, and this rulemaking cycle and the last rulemaking cycle, a committee of the following people met, and I'd like to acknowledge them at this time because of their hard work. Dalia Medina, Eileen Neglieri, Elaine Centeno, Gladys Justiniano, Grover Butler, Linda Schroeder-King, Michael Akes, Sandy Davenport, Sarah Shoemaker, Sonia Esposito, Susan Harris, who has since retired, Yanellis Ballard, and Larry Meadows. High school student progression plan changes include revises policy language to prohibit exemptions for students from course exams, revises policy language to clarify graduation requirements for transfer students, revises policy language regarding the requirements for the participation in the middle school acceleration program, the inclusion of course grades for accelerated courses into the student's high school GPA, and credits earned toward high school graduation. Revises policy language to remove the option that the Director of Exceptional Student Education may approve modifications to course requirements for eligible ESE students who seek special diplomas. That would be the grandfathered students. Revises policy language to reflect non-technical grammatical adjustments within the sections for graduation requirements for ESE students. Revises policy language to clarify that specified instruction and services for eligible ESE students through the free appropriate public education FAPE, F-A-P-E provision extend until the day the student attains the age of 22. Revises policy language to clarify that an ESE student may elect to change to a standard diploma option, but once an ESE student changes to a student diploma option, the student cannot revert back to the special diploma option. Revises policy language to establish criteria for the appropriate weights of district end of year and state end of course exams and for the formula used to calculate final grades. Revises policy language to clarify that level 3 courses are defined in the Florida Course Code Directory. I received a communication this afternoon from April Jackson in regard to some of the changes, and we'll be working with OCEA to make some possible revisions between now and the public hearing, but hopefully they will be minor. That concludes the board workshop changes that we have for you, board. Do you have any questions for these changes?
Board, this is a workshop. There won't be any votes made this evening. It's an opportunity for discussion. If you have any discussion, now would be appropriate time to share it.
Mr. Boyd, thank you. You did a good job briefing me. I appreciate your work on this.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd.
I'm just glad we have Mr. Boyd for this detail.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Agreed.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. So, board, at this time, we'll conclude our workshop. We'll reconvene under our school board meeting, and we have some presentations tonight. Sarah, I'm going to come to you first for recognition of Counselors of the Year and Career Specialists of the Year.
If I could ask Mrs. Luciano and Mr. Weishire to come down in front to greet the Counselors of the Year and Career Specialists of the Year when they get their award.
Yes, ma'am.
Counselor of the Year and Career Specialist of the Year nominees are those who best represent the school counseling and the college and career profession. The nominees are voted on by their peers and colleagues, and before I announce the winners, I'd like to read to you their nomination summary. Dana has not only been responsible for her own grades, 3 through 5, but has assisted with middle school responsibilities. This puts her at 6th grade level since the beginning of the school year. She has also been the main contact for 504, presenting the Got Plans lessons for 5th and 8th grade students, as well as giving the career interest inventories. She helps our FIT population by assisting in handing out food each Friday for weekend food bags. She does all of this as well as maintaining morning and afternoon duty, all with a smile. Dana is a wonderful guidance counselor who creates a comprehensive guidance program with grace and acceptance of all responsibilities that come her way. I'm proud to announce the 2015-16 Elementary Counselor of the Year, Dana High from Westside K-8. For several months, Jennifer has had to hold down the fort by herself. She's a dedicated and caring professional. She has presented for counselors on how to use technology like Google Docs to make their jobs and data tracking more efficient. She's a treasurer of our Osceola School Counseling Association and goes above and beyond to help our district counselors. She is an active member of professional organizations and seeks to continue to learn and grow as a professional. She is a wonderful representative for our profession. I'm proud to announce the 2015-16 Middle School Counselor of the Year, Jennifer Wright from Denjon Middle School.
You can come up closer as well if you want for a better picture.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
There is so much to say about Kevin. He has come in and changed Liberty's guidance department for the better. Since he has started, the guidance department has become a true team where all counselors pitch in to help and support one another. Kevin's proactivity and the use of technology to create efficiency, as well as his willingness to share his skills with the entire school counseling community in Osceola County, has made him a true asset. The students love him, but his fellow counselors love him even more. I'm proud to announce the 2015-16 High School Counselor of the Year, Kevin Klinger from Liberty High School. Karen is outstanding and tireless in her efforts in working with high school students in preparation for their future. She takes the time to listen and help students resolve any issues or concerns regarding scholarships, careers, financial aid, and any other issues that are interfering with the student's academic, personal, or social life. She has a way of empowering students. Karen takes great pride in what she does and is friendly and kind to everyone that she comes in contact with. She not only works with students, but she takes the time to work with parents and helps them understand the many resources available to students in the community. She works with the non-English speaking parents and walks them through the concerns and questions they have. She takes the time to assist them in completing the forms and outlining any information that pertains to the future success of their students. Karen is a wonderful colleague because she takes the time to listen, share ideas, and work collaboratively with school staff. I'm proud to present the 2015-16 Career Specialist of the Year, Karen Gill for Osceola School of the Arts and Professional Technical High School.
And then if you guys all come together, we'll get one group photo. And Sarah, thank you for the presentation. And if anybody needs to take a picture, please feel free to come up and get the best picture possible for yourself. You don't have to be shy.
Let's squeeze together.
Again, congratulations.
Folks, next we have Principal of St. Cloud High School, Mr. Nate Fancher. He will be doing student recognitions for the St. Cloud High School Masonry students.
Thank you, Board. Thank you for having us tonight. It's with great pleasure that I make this next announcement. But first, let me just take a little bit to give you a little bit of history about the Masonry program at St. Cloud High School. The Masonry program at St. Cloud High School has been there for only 3 years. When I first took over the school, I knew I wanted to expand the CTE programs there, but you cannot expand a program without having the right person to come in and really develop a program. And it was with Mr. Lear. I knew Mr. Lear before. I've met him a few times. I'd worked with his wife, but I knew that he was first a very compassionate person that really cared about kids. Second, he was very passionate about working with students. He had worked with adult students, teaching them the skills to be successful in the careers of construction. So Mr. Lear was able, so Mr. Lear, why don't you come on up right now, but let's give a hand to Mr. Lear, first of all. In 3 short years, he has been able to build a very, very successful masonry program. And we're here tonight because just a few weeks ago, we were at a competition. The competition is in Stark, Florida. Tim, you know where Stark is. There's a big prison there. I think that you drove through there one time. Now,
they let me out.
It was a competition of masonry students doing a masonry competition. Most, I would say most of the students there were in a school very similar to our paths, where they basically take masonry classes for at least a double block a day, meaning they're working with mortar and bricks and construction for at least 2 hours each and every day. Mind you, most of these students were seniors. They had been in this program for 4 years. We have only had the program for 3 years. We came, Vini Vini Vici. We came, we saw, we conquered. We won the entire competition. We also brought a team of all girls as well, who competed very fiercely. In addition, St. Cloud students, Joel Colazzo, won the overall competition. Mind you, this is just within 3 years. So let's give a round of applause. In addition, the young lady here tonight fundraises for the masonry program. Each board member, if you'll see here tonight, there is a pet here for you. It is a bulldog. It has been potty trained. It will not make a mess. The students created the mold. They make the statue, they paint them, and it's a wonderful fundraiser. So there is one for every board member tonight, and there is a top dog one over there for you, Miss Luciano.
I see.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fancher.
So there are just a few seconds to introduce the students who came tonight and talk briefly, because I believe we also have some guests from the industry with some more.
First, I'd like to present Al Hearn and Pat McLaughlin. They're here from the Masonry Association or Masonry Foundation. They have the trophies for our students, if you wouldn't mind coming up and presenting.
Yeah, we started this contest in 2005. We had 5 schools to start with. We've gone up to 7, and this year we had 7 schools compete. Menendez brought an all-girl team. St. Cloud brought an all-girl team. And 2 of the young ladies are going to compete in Florida Skills. The top 3 of every school, students that finish the masonry contest, goes on to Florida Skills. And out of the last 11 years, every Mason student that went to Skills USA in Kansas City was from this contest. We finished in high school, we finished 3rd place 3 times in the nation, and with our apprentice program, we've won gold medals and 2nd and 3rd places. So it's a very good program, and our industry does this because we want these young people to come into our trade. And so with that, I'd like your team to come up, your students. We have 2 traveling trophies. The school will get, John, the students get this trophy for a year. And we also ask for sponsors, and the Osceola Education Foundation sponsored the team to come up to Stark. And so a few years ago, the suppliers started complaining that the students get a trophy and they don't. So we made them a trophy. So with the students, Joe, congratulations.
Thank you.
It was a 1,000-point contest. He scored 900 points.
Wow.
Overall. And this is the trophy for the Osceola Education Foundation. We certainly appreciate what y'all do, and we're looking forward to next year. And if you ever get a chance to come to Stark, and there's only 3 things in Stark. There's a strawberry festival, there's the prison, and there's the masonry showcase. Okay?
An IHOP.
And there's an IHOP. Okay. But anyway, we appreciate it. It took hard work to do it within 3 years because our masons in the other schools are very highly skilled, and they congratulate you, John, because they like the competition. So thank you.
Thank you, Al. Oh yeah, Al. Al, come on, got a picture.
You just have to slow down when you go through Waldo if you're going to start.
Some over here as well.
And pick up Louis first.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's squeeze in. You gotta squeeze in.
Yeah.
She can
Mia
grab
has
the pup.
spent
Hours and
many
hours.
hours making this.
You better not pick this up. That's
No,
too hard for you.
no.
This looks a little bit like Al, but that's okay.
And she's gonna hold mine. I love that. Thank you.
I think we're gonna have to squeeze in tighter.
We still not.
Squeeze in tight. Maybe double row? Can we double row?
Can we double row?
Can we don't?
Double row.
No, no, no.
Students up front.
You're taller.
The students come
3 students up front.
Yes. Yes.
And then we'll get
That, here you go.
There you go.
Yes. Very nice.
Good job, Bulldogs.
That's right, go Bulldogs.
Thank you.
You can give it, you can bring it right here.
You got a good one there.
I want to put it right up here. Just set it right here where everybody can see it and block my face. Hey. I just want to say that I will cherish my Bulldog as a St. Cloud High School graduate. As an Osceola High School graduate, I don't know what will happen to this Bulldog.
John, was you ever South Cowboys? My dogs think it's really dog.
Great. That's always an exciting time for all of our meetings to recognize the achievements that are happening within our district. There's so many good things that are happening, and we get to just talk about just a few of them each school board meeting, so thank you for that. Superintendent, there are no appointments or transfers?
There is one, and Ms. Harwood, Ms. Harwood, where are you? Linda, I'm sorry. Ms. Harwood, if you would please come up. And Linda has a position for an assistant principal, and she's going to talk a little bit about her recommendation.
Good evening. I'm requesting your approval of Shannon Mahoney for the assistant principal position at Neptune Elementary School. Throughout her career, Shannon has held many positions: teacher at New Beginnings Educational Complex, teacher and math specialist at Waterbridge Elementary School in Orlando, teacher at South Pittsburgh Elementary in Tennessee, learning resource specialist and math and science coach at COA, learning resource specialist, MTSS coach, test coordinator, and AVID coordinator at Neptune Elementary. She received her bachelor's degree in elementary education from the University of Central Florida and a master's degree in educational leadership and administration from Capella University. She is currently working on her educational degree in leadership and management at Capella University. Thank you for your consideration.
Motion to approve is submitted.
Second.
Thank you. Board, we do have a motion by Mr. Wheeler, second by Mrs. Soto on the approval. Is there any discussion? Hearing seen none,
Shannon,
all those in
would you-
favor, please indicate by stating aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Lisa.
Congratulations.
And if you have anybody with you this evening, we'd welcome the opportunity to recognize them as well.
Yes, I have my husband Chris with me, my daughter Trinity, and my parents Rhoda and Cecil.
Excellent. Congratulations to you. Superintendent, anything additional?
No, sir.
Thank you. At this time, will move forward with open for public comment. I do have a few people that have signed up to speak. I'm going to start first. We have a couple of students that signed up. Hannah Terrence and Brooke Diaz, I'd welcome you at this time. Good evening, ladies. You can actually come right over here. There's a microphone there. And then I see that you have some prepared remarks that you have, so we'll allow you to work through those, and we'll go from there. So welcome to you, ladies.
Good evening. We are here in regards to the new policy of no promotion ceremony for the 5th grade students in the Osceola County School District.
We are currently in 5th grade. We know that you've been able to attend your students' 5th grade promotion ceremony and it made you proud. We would like to be able to do the same and give that proud moment to our parents who have supported us along the way.
As 5th graders, we have worked our butts off since kindergarten, trying to meet expectations that you have set for us year after year. It's very difficult to reach that target since it's constantly moving. I can tell you that not only have we done our best, but so have my friends. We deserve to celebrate in the fact that all our hard work has paid off. Don't you like to be recognized for your accomplishments? I know my friends and we do.
It's time to let us be kids. Please quit taking away our childhood. It would be gone in a blink of an eye, and we would hate to think that the special memories we would be able to talk about with our friends, family, and even our own families would not have the 5th grade promotion ceremony as part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Before you go anywhere, I think there's someone here, or maybe a couple of someone's here that would like to speak with you. Mr. Soto?
Hannah, Brooke, you should be very proud of yourselves. You did excellent. And I know how scary it is to be up there, but you pulled it off as a pro. And your message definitely reached from my ears to my head, and I would agree with you. Folks, I want to say something. There's a reason why there was a show titled, Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? If there's one thing I learned over the 2 years as a school board member, the children are way smarter than what we think they are. I will tell you right now that in several occasions that I've had a chance to go to an elementary school and do some reading and do some interaction with 5th graders, I have been floored by the conversations that I've had with some of them. And one of them discussed her plans to go to Harvard, and I'll tell you, for law. And I will tell you right now, I wouldn't be surprised if she did go to Harvard to study law, because she was just so intelligent. And I think, and a lot has to do with the parents, and has to do with our elementary school staff. And I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't know there was a policy against the promotion ceremony, so I guess we're going to have a discussion about that eventually. But I would definitely, I think that your accomplishments and every 5th grader, should be recognized with a ceremony. And that's, so you convinced me. I'm in.
Good job, ladies. Mr. Wheeler?
Hannah and Brooke, what schools do you go to?
Mill Creek Elementary.
Mill Creek Elementary, okay. I didn't know that there was a policy against it at this point either, and I am with Mr. Soto. I think that if the school, first of all, where's your parents? You should be very proud of them. They did really good. If the school wants to do it, and we've got students like you who are willing to lead the way for students to do it, Mrs. Luciano, I can't speak for the rest of the board, but I think it would be amicable to, something to amend, if there is a policy against it, something to amend that, leave it up to each individual school to make that decision. But we've got young ladies like these coming to speak so eloquently on behalf of all fifth graders in this entire school district, you got my attention, so let's see what we can do to fix that for you.
Thank you. Mr. Booth.
Yes, I'll just say congratulations, girls. You did a great job. I had several parents had brought this to my attention. I didn't know that we were hard on it. So here at the district. So I hope I'm also with you, Mr. Soto, Mr. Wheeler. I can remember we called it graduation then, and if you want to change the name, that's fine, and call it promotion. I remember my 8th grade graduation ceremony at the First Baptist Church in Kissimmee, and Don Mears was the guest speaker, and I'll never forget it. And it was an outstanding program, and I think we ought to celebrate these kids being promoted to middle school and then from middle school to high school. I have no problem with that.
Thank you, Mr. Booth. Mr. Thacker.
Just want to echo, y'all did a great job. Certainly on the surface, I'm all in too, but I'm just curious if there was a policy change, if we find out the reason in case there's something that's not.
The reasoning, yes.
If we can have Dr. Brizendine share with you.
This was actually a change that's been kind of slowly occurring over the course of the past few years. We've had a focus this year, especially on career and college readiness, and wanted to make that high school graduation event very special and unique. So we brought together different principals from different levels who talked about the way that they were celebrating the end of year promotion for 5th and 8th grade. And there is nothing against how it's celebrated. We just didn't want it to have the flavor of high school graduation, so that when the students reached that year, it was truly meaningful and special.
Yeah, and there's a balance, I think, that's trying to be struck with this as well. You know, that we don't have limousines pulling up to elementary schools for these promotion ceremonies, and family flying in from all. And just saying, I mean, let's be honest. So that's part of the context of this as well, just as an example. Mr. Wheeler.
And I've attended these 8th grade and 5th grade, quote, promotion ceremonies, graduation. I don't think anybody was ever confused and thought it was a high school graduation. And to that end, I don't think we can celebrate achievement enough. When students are doing something good, I don't care if it is getting into college, I don't care if it's graduating high school, getting a career and technical industry certification, getting out of 5th grade to middle school to high school. Let's celebrate these achievements. Let's give them some positive reinforcement. Let them know you're on, this is not the end of the road, but this is a good big step toward, in the right direction, and you made it to the next step. Let's go so we can do this again in 3 years or 4 years. I see no problem with celebrating achievement. So I think if this is one way we can do it, and students want to do it, and schools want to do it, I'm all for it.
Mr. Booth.
I would think that somebody from Mill Creek got the impression that they were not allowed to have some promotion ceremony. Could we speak to that a little bit?
Well, one of the things that we have heard from a variety of principals is the way that they are recognizing students. And I know for a fact Mill Creek has an Academy Award event where they bring in students and they recognize them for their accomplishments and their academic achievement, which by all means we want to make sure they do. Every principal has a plan of how they're going to recognize the students and how they're going to celebrate that milestone. Some schools are having 5th grade dances, some are having parents coming in to do a picnic and celebrate with the students. So there are a variety of ways, and the one that I think was kind of most popular is that some schools are taking it as an opportunity for students to begin their career planning, and parents are brought in to hear about what their child's future plans are as far as career and college.
Well, it goes to reason that, why if we had a policy change that's happened over the years. And I can see that maybe in some elementary schools it could be a challenge in doing these. I just don't feel that the detriment, for example, about taking some of the luster from a high school graduation, the risk of that happening you know, versus the benefits. And I think that Mr. Wheeler eloquently stated it, that it was that we cannot really do enough of this encouragement, and that it happens in these intervals that are significant, almost like milestones in a child's educational career. I think that the benefits of having the recognition, and the best proof right here is that we have Hannah and Brooke, both 5th grade students, who are making this petition to us, saying that this is important to us. And they're why we exist. And if it's gonna benefit them without any more, I still would support that these ceremonies be held. But I know that they speak maybe for many 5th graders besides themselves. And so let's look at the benefit and you know what it will cost. I think that the benefits here are great. I would like to hear more of the cost before, you know, we say we shouldn't do this.
Superintendent?
Ms. Cavaney is here, the principal of the school. Maybe she can share with you what the plans are.
Sure. Susan?
Just if you'd come to the front, please.
Yeah. Hannah and Brooke, you guys can sit and relax. Mr. Muniz was right. Be able to relax. Great job, ladies.
I have met with my 5th grade teachers a couple of times. I met with them in early February to share with them the direction that the district would like to take, which is moving away from the traditional promotion ceremonies. In talking with them, they had some talking points that they wanted me to share with Lizette and Melba when I had my mid-year reviews with them, so I shared that. At our last week's principals meeting, all of the principals were sharing what they have been doing, what they're going to do for their 5th grade end-of-year activities. So I took that list and met with the 5th grade teachers and shared the variety of things that other schools are doing. So my 5th grade team is in the process of meeting and discussing ideas and what they would like to do to celebrate students at the end of the school year. So I don't have any concrete because they are still discussing and deciding what they'd like to share with me and make a decision on how we'd like to celebrate the end of the school year for 5th graders.
And I think that's an important distinction, is that there wasn't a desire to take away the celebration of academic success, but instead to actually focus on that in a more comprehensive manner, but it may just take a different form or function than how it had been happening previously, or to try to provide some framework around how it takes place. But I can speak with certainty that the desire was never to remove the celebration of the student success or where they are on the pathway of their overall educational career. So.
We're a society that we celebrate ceremony. It means a lot. You know, it's not just symbolic. It's ingrained into how, you know, how we are as Americans. So I think that what 5th graders were advocating for is that they want a ceremony where they're individually, I hope I'm not mistaken, but I think that's what you want, is that the name to be called and get that and say you're promoted. And I tell you, I was always busy during even my law school, I wasn't able to make it. Missed out on that, and I regret it. I know how important it is to go through that ritual. And if it starts in 5th grade, let us not underestimate just the impact that it can have in an individual student. And that's all I wanted to go ahead and express here.
Okay. Thanks, Susan. Board, if you'll indulge me as well, there's someone else that signed up to speak on this item. Michelle Diaz is here as well. Michelle, I want to welcome you this evening.
Thank you.
And Michelle, I didn't have to go through the protocol with the students, but typically what you'll see is 3 minutes. The lights will be in front of you. When it gets to red, that means just to wrap up your comment at that time. I would ask, though, also for public record that you would state your name and address for the record.
My name is Michelle Diaz. I live at 1794 Cheryl Lane in Kissimmee, 34744.
Great. Thank you, ma'am. And we want to welcome you here this evening as well.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
To be honest, I had a whole speech prepared. But when my daughter and Hannah came up here, they said it better than I ever could. When I was outside waiting for the school board meeting to start, I saw on the TV that it said, student achievement is our #1 priority. By taking away their promotion ceremony, then you're obviously not following through with that. How I celebrate is different than how you celebrate, and how you celebrate, and how you celebrate. I've been told a couple things why they were taking away the promotion ceremony. One, that it would be, when they became seniors, they would be disenchanted with the celebration because it wouldn't mean anything because they already did it in 5th and 8th grade. I can tell you what row I sat in, who I sat beside at my Arabian Nights Osceola graduation. I had an 8th grade graduation. I lived in Maine. I wore a prom dress, and I came in a limo. We were really small. It was a big deal. I've also been told capacity-wise is a reason why they took away the promotion ceremony. But yet, we can have Title I events, reading literacy nights, math nights, and the whole school and their families are invited. I'm all for guidelines. I'm all for saying when and where that this ceremony can happen. I just don't understand why you would take it away from them. We want them college ready. Those girls have been college ready since October. We want them to do STAR testing every 3 months. We are having FSA, FCATs testing. Every time they turn around, they have a testing. They don't get as much recess because they have testing. I just ask you, we ask so much of them, why are we not rewarding them? Why are we making them be adults with no recognition? I'm sure most of you got to see your children have their promotion ceremony. Why can we not see ours? Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, ma'am. So, Superintendent, I think obviously you have some conversation from the board as a whole, so you may want to have some follow-up conversation there and kind of shape this conversation. Okay, thank you. Okay, additional public comment, Joella?
Great artwork.
Yeah.
I love your superhero artwork.
Thank you, sir.
We welcome you here this evening as well.
Thank you, sir. My name is Jola Dagum Low. I'm representing the visual arts tonight. Debbie asked me to do this. I'm very shy, so I don't normally do this. Ms. Luciana is rolling her eyes. We are talking about celebration, and this month is the Youth Advocacy Month, the Art Month. And so in behalf of the visual arts and all the art forms, Debbie told me to kind of encourage everyone to take a moment to go outside of the lobby area where we have several artworks exhibited from different schools. I have my, just in case I forget, outside we have Michigan Avenue in the window. We have Reedy Creek in one of those nice frames. Liberty High School is also exhibited. We have the Hall of Fame from the Arts Alive. We have also Boggy Creek that just delivered the artwork, and Miss Abdullah had fabulous charms for you guys to take home. Also outside is the work of my regular art kids, because I brought the regular art classes artwork tonight because most of my advanced kids gets their artworks exhibited in Dr. Phillips and Gaylord Palms, but my regular classes, I also want them to have that opportunity. And those are the superheroes outside.
What school are you from?
St. Cloud High School. My principal is here. And the superheroes were dedicated. I did ask them what they wanted to do for the school board, and I told them that that since you are the leaders, they think of you as the heroes. And so we do want to thank you for being part of encouraging the arts in the county. So in behalf of all the arts, Debbie did tell me this is the opening area time for the month of March. You're gonna see artwork changing throughout the days coming, and we're gonna end the whole thing hopefully with another thing in April 7th. So you'll see me again, Ms. Luciano.
Great.
And thank you very, very much, and power to the arts.
Thank you. Before you go, hang tight 1 second. Mr. Willett?
I can't speak for the rest of the board. I've been in this boardroom since 2002, and I don't know how the rest of the board feels of it. I would love to see some students' artwork in this room rotated on a regular basis. You know, we've got a lot of stuff, you know, there's a lot of blank space on these walls. And if we're not here for students, why are we here? So again, I mean, you walk in schools. I mean, I know I go to Celebration High School a lot, but you walk down the admin corridor, there's student art on both sides of the hallway as you walk down. We got a lot of wall there. We got a lot of wall there.
Jay, you understand that art is in the eye of the beholder.
And I want to behold some. Thank you.
Well, I love art, but you know, I know that not everybody loves the same art I love.
Well, I want to behold some art in here, and you can decide what you like, and I'll decide what I like.
Well, you know what? We'll let Jay choose which art goes behind.
No, I will not.
Well, here's a good news for you, Mr. Wheeler. Miss Famey and I are in the talk because we want to revamp some of the artworks in the hallways in the county. Debbie's gonna set up a meeting with Dr. Bresendine and Miss Luciano. So because we want to update some more artworks here. So it's gonna be done with all the schools in Osceola. We're doing our PLC, and we are going to invite you as part of it, so you can give us your feedback on the art.
Whole wall there. We can put.
We can do murals, sir. We can do murals.
No, not murals. Something you want to change. We got a lot of space for artwork here.
It's a good. I have a quick question though.
Yes,
So
sir.
the superheroes look great. Everything looks great. I just want to know why the students chose to draw me as Wonder Woman out of all the superheroes.
With a beard.
With a beard.
With a
No,
beard.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It was Captain America. I was really glad to see that. It looks great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I have this. This is from Bobby Week, sir. So
Right.
I apologize. I probably break it down.
I was going to say, don't drop it.
And we're gonna get your superhero stuff next.
Oh, okay.
Here we go, Mr. Hero. Oh my God, this is all I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. You're doing great. I like your Batman t-shirt. Thank you.
You gotta write it down.
Here you go, Mr.
I get the yellow star.
Yes, sir. This
Well,
is from
what
Bobby.
blue star?
Here you go, sir.
Let me try.
Come on.
Thank you very much.
Here you go. And I have more in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here you go.
So, as mentioned, if you would take some time on your way out this evening to look at the artwork that is on display and recognize we do have some very talented students and teachers in our district that are helping.
Thank you, Mr. Fancher.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I love my dog.
Show off my yellow star.
Okay, board, we'll move on to agenda modifications. I'll go from my left to right. Mr. Wheeler, do you have any?
I'm good.
Mr. Soto? Mr. Thacker? Mr. Booth? Nope. Superintendent, you're good? And board, I'm good, so I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Wheeler with a second by Mr. Booth. Board, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion does carry 5-0. Board, that brings us down to information items. We're going to start with Rachel Sloan regarding middle school course progression changes for the middle school social studies.
Good evening, Board. The Middle School Curriculum and Instruction Department has made some exciting changes to our social studies progression set to begin in the 2015-2016 school year. And this evening we'd like to outline the changes for you and the reasons behind why we believe strongly this shift is in the best interest of our students. And if you go ahead with the slide. In just a moment, there's going to be a slide for you to detail the current course progression as compared to the layout of our new course progression. So here with me this evening is one of our top-notch resource teachers that you heard about earlier. Her name is Ms. Rachel Sloan. She's our K-12 social studies resource teacher, as well as Mr. Frankie Franceschi, whom I've worked with in years past, and he is a fantastic civics teacher from Horizon Middle School, and the two of them are going to offer a little more information regarding this change this evening.
After careful examination and consideration of input from all stakeholders, including teachers, administrators, and Department of Education officials, middle school curriculum has decided to realign the social studies progression beginning with the 2015-2016 school year. Middle school U.S. history will be offered in 7th grade and civics now in 8th grade. While considering this change and the impact it would have on both teachers and students, we looked at a variety of factors, including the following. Initially, legislation dictated that the civics end-of-course exam was a pass or fail exam, and that every student must pass the EOC for the civics course in order to move on to high school. At that time, our district and our counterparts across the state thought it would be best to offer civics in the 7th grade, largely because it would give struggling students yet another year to pass the assessment if they needed it, so they could move on to high school. However, the EOC no longer is pass-fail and no longer determines retention or promotion. Instead, it counts for 30% of the course grade. In addition, civics teachers expressed frustrations with teachers teaching the civics content before students had taken the middle school U.S. history course. Teachers felt they were having to teach both of the content areas and were struggling to contextualize the civics concepts without the background knowledge of U.S. history. Therefore, the middle school team sent a survey to teachers in order to gather data and feedback. We found that a majority of our teachers were in favor of the course progression change. Mr. Allen also discussed the change with our principals and assistant principals and received overwhelming support. And finally, we contacted the Department of Education and confirmed this change would be aligned with state policy and vision. We also received support from the Executive Vice Chancellor, Frankie Franceschi.
Thank you, Rachel.
All right, as a civics teacher, I know that this change is what is best for students. There are many benefits, which include the following. Students will have developed a stronger background of U.S. history as they would know more about the foundation and principles of our government prior to learning the actual processes of the government and civics. Students will be more mature and more cognitively developed for the rigorous civics EOC. The progression articulates well into high school and mirrors the high school course progression.
Please know that myself and the entire middle school curriculum and instruction team will do everything possible to make this change a positive one for both teachers and for students. We've started to plan extended professional development opportunities for those teachers who will be affected and will be impacted by the change, which will begin in July. We will work with the textbook publisher as well to ensure that all teachers have enough resources and materials available to students. And finally, there are plans to provide all of our 7th and 8th grade teachers with additional support for the duration of the school year, next school year, and beyond. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rachel and Frankie. Board, any questions on this?
Just doesn't require.
No action required at this time. I would just comment, I think it's, Kelvin and I just briefly looked at each other and said the same thing. This just makes really good sense, and so we appreciate you doing this. Obviously, anytime we're making a change like this, as I've used in the past as an example, there's a lot of moving parts, and so we recognize that. And it's going to take a lot of buy-in and understanding for people of how to get there and what we're doing and the rationale behind it. But again, as I look at this, it just makes good sense. So I appreciate you guys doing that.
And also, I really want to recognize the efforts of Rachel Sloan, and I appreciate the courage of all the middle school social studies teachers to embrace this endeavor, and of course the encouragement and support of Superintendent Luciano. I just want you to know that statewide, districts are looking at Osceola. When we've done research, we called other districts to say, have you considered this? This makes sense to us. The systems before that were in place, the pass-fail, that is now antiquated. And each one of them said, we've thought about it, and why don't you go ahead and do it, and then let us know how it goes. But our teachers have embraced it, and we're very excited about this change. So thank you for your support, Board.
That's great. And Superintendent, we want to be the leaders in this state when it comes to being innovators when it comes to education. So this is great. Thank you. Good job, guys. Thank you for your time tonight. Okay, Todd, we're coming to you.
Well, good evening, Board. McDalia is going to actually present some financial highlights from the comprehensive annual financial report.
Thank you. Good evening to our friends from finance.
Very good. Good evening, Board. Tonight, I'm going to provide you with a summary of the district's comprehensive annual financial report, known as the CAFR, for the fiscal year ended June 30th of 2014. The contents of the CAFR present the district's financial position and its results of operations, as well as certain demographic and statistical information to help readers understand the financial condition of the district. There are 5 major sections of the CAFR. First, the introductory section provides you with some background information on the district, including its officials and organizational chart, as well as general information on the local economy. Next, the financial section provides the independent auditor's report, management's discussion and analysis, the basic financial statements, and disclosures, as well as other required supplementary information, or RSI. The RSI includes the budget to actual schedules and the schedule of funding progress for other post-employment benefits. The third section includes the combining and individual fund statements and schedules. These schedules include the detail to support every column in the basic fund financial statements that aggregates data from more than one fund. The statistical section is the 4th major section of the CAFR, and it provides detailed information as a context for understanding what the information in the financial statements, note disclosures, and required supplementary information says about the district's overall financial health. Lastly, the single audit is performed for the district's federal awards as required by the Single Audit Act and OMB Circular A-133 to ensure that these funds are expended properly. In the introductory section, you will notice a copy of the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting that was presented to the district for its CAFR for the fiscal year ended June 30th of 2013. The district has earned this certificate for 7 consecutive years. This certificate is awarded by the Government Finance Officers Association, or the GFOA, and is the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting. Its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by the district and its management. In conjunction with the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting, the GFOA presented an award of Financial Reporting Achievement to the Business and Fiscal Services Division for being primarily responsible for earning the certificate on the district's behalf. We have again submitted the district's CAFR for the fiscal year ended June 30th of 2014 to the GFOA for certification and are awaiting their response. I would like to take this opportunity to thank my entire team in the finance department, as well as our auditors at Moore Stevens and Lovelace for all of their hard work, support, and dedication while compiling this massive report. As of June 30th of 2014, the district reported combined governmental fund balances of $129.8 million, a decrease of $21.68 million from the prior year. The general fund reported ending fund balances of $70.2 million. The capital fund reported ending fund balances of $40.4 million, and all other funds reported ending fund balances of $19.2 million. In the general fund, the district ended the 2014 fiscal year with an unassigned fund balance of $33.7 million. While the unassigned fund balance is available to meet the district's short-term spending needs, it is important to note that $33.7 million will only support average operating expenses of the general fund for a 1-month period based on total expenditures as reported at June 30th of 2014. The district's total bonded debt decreased by $13.4 million, or 4.99% at June 30th of 2014. Bonded debt constitutes the largest portion of long-term debt at the end of the fiscal year and was comprised of $8.386 million of bonds issued on behalf of and by the State Board of Education, $60.52 million outstanding in district revenue bonds, and $186.625 million outstanding in certificates of participation. The basic financial statements are included in the financial section of the CAFR and include the government-wide financial statements as well as the fund-level financial statements. The government-wide financial statements provide both short-term and long-term information about the district's overall financial condition in a manner similar to those of a private sector business. The statements include a statement of net position and a statement of activities that are designed to provide consolidated financial information about the governmental activities of the primary government presented on the accrual basis of accounting. The statement of net position provides information about the government's financial position, its assets, and its liabilities using an economic resources measurement focus. The difference between the assets and the liabilities, the net position, is a measure of the financial health of the district. The district reported a $556 million net position as of June 30th, 2014. The statement of net position is presented on page 20 of the CAFR. The statement of activities presents information about the change in the district's net position or the results of operations during the fiscal year. An increase or decrease in net position is an indication of whether the district's financial health is improving or deteriorating. The district reported a $26.8 million decrease to its net position as of June 30th, 2014. This is the amount by which expenditures outpace revenues at the government-wide level. The statement of activities is presented on page 21 of the CAFR. The district uses fund accounting to ensure and demonstrate compliance with finance-related legal requirements and prudent fiscal management. The governmental fund financial statements focus on near-term inflows and outflows of expendable resources, as well as on balances of expendable resources available at the end of the fiscal year. As highlighted earlier, the combined ending fund balances for all governmental funds was $129.8 million as of June 30th, 2014, a $21.6 million decrease from the 2013 fiscal year. This amount was reported in the following classifications: $3.22 million in non-spendable, $78.11 million in restricted, $14.77 million in assigned, and $33.7 million in unassigned. These amounts are reported on the balance sheet for governmental funds found on page 22 of the CAFR. The district's proprietary funds account for activities in which a fee is charged for services. The district uses this fund to account for the Health and Life Insurance Trust Fund and Casualty Insurance Loss Fund. The ending net position for proprietary funds was $20.8 million as of June 30th, 2014, a $3.1 million decrease from the 2013 fiscal year. The statement of net position for the district's proprietary funds can be found on page 26 of the CAFR. Finally, we'll highlight the amounts reported in the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for the general fund and the capital fund. This statement can be found on page 24 of the CAFR. The district reported $404.9 million in revenues and other financing sources in the general fund as of June 30th, 2014. Of this amount, $273 million, or 67%, are state sources. $105.5 million, or 26%, are local property taxes. $11.7 million, or 3%, are federal and miscellaneous sources. And $14.6 million, or 4%, are other financing sources. The district reported total expenditures of $410.8 million in the general fund. $262.2 million, or 64% of the total expenditures, was spent on instructional services. $43.8 million, or 10%, was spent on instructional support services, and $89 million, or 22%, was spent on general support services. $8.2 million, or 2%, was spent on the maintenance of plants. $3.5 million, or 1%, was spent on administrative technology services, and $3.8 million, or 1%, was spent on other expenses, such as community services and fixed capital outlay. The general fund realized a $5.8 million deficit for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2014. This is the amount by which expenditures also outpaced revenues at the end of the fund, at the fund level. The district's capital funds reported $56.3 million in revenues and other financing sources as of June 30th, 2014. By far, the largest portion of this amount, $49 million, or 87%, are from local sources. $3.7 million, or 6%, are from state sources, and $3.4 million, or 7%, are from other financing sources. Total expenditures in the capital fund as of June 30, 2014, were $73.3 million. $38.2 million, or 52%, was spent on facilities acquisition and construction. $20.5 million, or 28%, was spent on other financing uses, for the debt service fund, and 14.5 million or 20% was spent on the other financing uses for the general fund. The capital fund realized a $17 million deficit for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2014. Again, the amount by which expenditures outpaced revenues at the fund level. Board, this highlights the information that was presented in the CAFA for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2014. Are there any questions?
Mr. Wheeler?
Good presentation. My question is simple to anybody you can answer. So when are we going to have enough money to start building new schools?
I don't have an answer to that
Well,
question.
our 5-year capital plan, as you
Excuse me?
know, our 5-year capital plan was updated to reflect new revenue projections for impact fee revenues. Those revenues would be the ones that we would use to build a new school.
So when are we going to have enough money?
That's, I don't have the 5-year capital plan with me. I think it was a 2018 year, if I'm not mistaken, Clyde. Is that correct?
It was.
And is that 2 high schools or 3?
No.
A high school.
A high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and not only a high school, not a high school, middle school, elementary, not a high school,
No, just,
K-8 school?
just a high school.
Okay.
So, should I even ask about teacher raises? I am asking, actually.
No.
As
Okay,
far as,
I
well,
believe- I
here,
believe
let
that
me,
silence is a response.
yeah,
Now
let
take
me
it.
answer that. It's,
Okay.
Part of it too is the bargaining unit and working through that in its
Okay.
context as well. In an executive session, we can have some discussion surrounding that.
Much more candid.
Okay. Okay, I'll take that. Silence as an answer as well.
Board, any other questions on the presentation? No. Todd and Megdalia, staff, thank you so much for your work. We're looking forward to receiving that certificate of excellence yet again. And we know that you guys do a great job of watching the finances of the district. And I know this board is very interested in figuring out how we can make sure that we're continuing to find efficiencies, cost savings, and then obviously the wise utilization of the resources that we have. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board, that does conclude our information items on the agenda. It brings us down to our regular agenda items. We have curriculum instruction. Board, what's your pleasure?
Move for approval of items A through F.
I'd like to remove C from that. I'd like to, A through F, take C.
A through F, less C.
Correct. Thank you. I'll second that motion.
Board, so we have a motion by Mr. Thacker on the approval of letters A through F. We're not dealing with letter C at this time, with a second by Mr. Wheeler. Any discussion?
I have one piece of discussion. It's really just a question, I guess. There's a couple of requests in here for some recruiting trips, which is fine. I have my problems not with that, but I'm wondering if maybe at the next meeting, if Tammy or whoever, I'd just be interested in what your recruiting strategy is and where you're looking at.
Definitely, we'll put that on the list.
That's a great idea. Good. Board, any other discussion on these items? Hearing, seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion does carry 5-0.
Or I pulled item C not because I'm opposed to it. I am enthusiastically in support of it. But I want to point out, first off, I want to thank Stacy and Dr. Akes for getting this on the agenda. This is a really big deal. A dual enrollment, first I'll make a motion to approve item C.
I'll second it.
Thank you, sir.
Discussion.
So, motion by Mr. Wheeler, second by Mr. Thacker.
Discussion.
Thank you.
This is a really big deal. We're the only district in Central Florida that's going to have this, and I think that as more of the details become known, I think that this is one of those things where I don't say it often, but I think we need to do some sort of kind of a community meeting to kick this off and let everyone know what the details are and what else involved. Maybe invite some people from UF to attend. Maybe they'll even send some cheerleaders to get some people excited.
Get all these FSU people to put that together.
Yes, put on a UF shirt and wear it.
They can sit in the back of the room.
Gator chomp, all that.
But I think this is a huge deal for our district. It's going to be huge for our students, for our high schools. I can't thank you enough. This is a great step in the right directions. And I would challenge the board, go find programs like this.
I echo your.
So that's all I've got.
Thank you. Board, anything additional?
Go Gators.
We do have a motion by Mr. Wheeler, second by Mr. Thacker on the approval of letter C. All those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Gators.
I'll take
No.
that as an aye, Mr. Thacker.
The motion passes 5-0 with an enthusiastic support for the Seminoles, so we're glad to hear that.
But
Human Resources, Board, what's your pleasure on this
Motion to
item?
approve item G is submitted.
Second.
Board, there's a motion by Mr. Wheeler, with second by Mr.
Discussion.
Tackle on the approval of letter G. Discussion, Mr. Booth.
This is the bullying.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Phelps for taking some time to kind of explain to me how this is going to all go into effect. So that's all. That was it.
Okay. Board, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
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 Opposed, no. The motion carries 5-0.
Good presentation, Tim.
Great job. Board, word under business and finance.
I'll make a motion to approve items H through N is submitted.
Board, we have a motion by Mr. Wheeler with second by Mr. Soto on the approval of letters H through N under business and finance. Any discussion, Board? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Facilities, Board, your pleasure.
I'll make a motion to approve item O as submitted.
Thank you, Board. There's a motion by Mr. Wheeler with second by Mr. Thacker on the approval of letter O under facilities. Is there any discussion on this item, Board? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion does carry 5-0. Superintendent recommendations?
None, sir.
Attorney's report, Mr. Brown?
Yes, briefly, today we received an order from the appellate court that we prevailed in the Knapp case. If you remember, some months ago, Mr. Knapp was represented by a lawyer and they demanded an administrative hearing because he claims he relied upon a secretary's advice as to when he should time his dropped retirement. Felt that he got bad advice from the secretary. The court affirmed the school board's dismissal of that case, so that just came electronically today. The other thing is, and I'll take your guidance, I sent you an email regarding an arbitration demand from the union and the teachers union. They are questioning the step salary issue, and that's really all I need to say about it right now. Well, that would be one of the defenses, that it's a little premature to grieve that issue. The thing is, Mr. Helsby's firm has been tasked by staff to represent the district, and I told him to proceed subject to whatever the board may do. You know, we had a lot of discussion previously on another matter. I didn't know if that's something you wanted me to speak with you individually about. What I will do is get a budget for Mr. Helsby, and I'll keep the board members informed this time as the fees come in, so we can stay involved that way. I don't know if that's acceptable to you, or if we need any further discussion. We can't discuss this issue in executive session because it's an arbitration, it's not court or administrative litigation.
Okay, and so the question is direction from the board on how you want, how we want you to proceed with regard to dealing with the legal components of this
Yes, sir,
arbitration
that's
request.
exactly right. My recommendation would be that we monitor the budget, that I provide board members with the legal fees as they come in, and that way everyone can stay more involved as opposed to.
Why don't you, can you come to us with an estimate?
I've asked him for a budget.
Or we could kind of approve an estimate and let you go towards that, and then as you get close, look at it again. I mean, because I'm not sure how we do it if you call us all and say we're at 10 grand. I'm not
Yes,
sure.
sir. Well, I've asked him to prepare a budget. He said he would. I think he's tied up with the Save Our Gilmore thing right now. That hearing is happening.
Starting tomorrow.
Thank you. And so that will be resolved. So unless there's further discussion, I'll provide each of you with the budget that he proposes. I'll speak with those of you who want to talk about it, and we'll monitor that. Ms. Otterson, is that sufficient?
That's absolutely sufficient.
Board, is that good for you? Mr. Booth, you good?
Yes.
Mr. Soto? Yeah, okay. I think you have the direction you need then for the time being, Mr. Brown.
Okay, thank you. And then we have an executive session tonight at before this meeting is finally adjourned. I sent Mr. Glassman out to get sandwiches.
No.
So hopefully he's upstairs.
You should call him and tell him not to. We have some already.
We'll have more.
I'm hungry.
Clarence and I are going to be up there. Just remember.
I'll grab one before we go home.
Just call them and let them know no sandwiches, steaks are preferred.
Right. Barbecue.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Oh,
thank
you
you
read
very
my
much.
mind, didn't you? Okay. Superintendent's update.
Just wanted to remind everyone that this Thursday is the Education Awards, and I know some of you are going to be in Tallahassee, but you'll be able to see the video, and I'll email you with the names of.
I think we're planning on being
We're
back.
going to be back by then.
We are a committed group.
Yes.
That's why I didn't go, because I want to be there.
So appreciated because.
Provided a flat tire, so.
Thank you so much for coming. That will mean a lot to everyone.
What time is the VIP reception beforehand? Is it 4:30?
We may not make that.
No, I feel like
I really don't know the VIP, but we'll let you know. We'll send you an email.
Just email me.
Okay, no problem.
We were invited.
Right, you're not there.
And also, just want you to know next week, of course, is spring break. Monday, we're all off, which is good. And then we have the rest of the week, but it'll be a skeleton crew because many of the staff members are going to take a couple of days off next week. So just wanted you to be aware of that.
So I can't meet with you on Monday, is that what you're telling me?
No, not on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday are fine.
Got it. Anything additional, Superintendent?
No, sir.
Okay. Under new business, Mr. Thacker, you had an item to discuss with regard to budget.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of run something by the board, and I've been spending a good bit of time with Todd, and will continue to spend a good bit of time with Todd on really picking through the budget and really trying to gain a deep understanding of the financials. And the reason I put this on the agenda is I go through, there's things we come across that have potentials to have big impacts to us in our funding. And we just kind of picked one out here that it impacts us. It's one of those things totally out of our control on full-time equivalents and the funding based on that. And, you know, I'll listen to your pleasure if you don't want to do this in the future, but if we get some of those things, you know, we basically kind of have three major charges: the attorney, the superintendent, and the budget. And if there's some of these things that I think are really important for us to think about, I was going to kind of bring them forward just in 5 minutes, not much on them. If it's your pleasure, we can do one, and if it's not worthwhile. So Todd is actually the guru. He will do the presentation, but thank goodness Gary's back.
Oh, God.
Great.
So Todd, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Thacker. This is a really good topic here. And this is a thing that's affecting all school districts across the state. We call this is the technical term is the proration to appropriations, but I like to call it prorations to funds available. Okay? What's actually happening at the state level is that they're under projecting the true student growth. So I'm going to walk us through it. Actually, what happens then?
They do that every year.
But it's the impact of what this means.
It's the impact.
No, they do this every year.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the financial impact that we can't actually calculate or budget here. So I'm going to walk through this. Thank you, Jose. The first calculation is the conference report. They project unweighted full-time equivalent students for the statewide of 2,722,134. As of the third calculation, we ended up growing. So now the difference there, the change for your unweighted FTE as we go across the column there is 11,737 more students. What happens is that the state doesn't, when they do their projections, they don't project where we are going to be at the end of the year. They try to do their best, but when they're projecting, they don't put in what you would call like an undistributed amount or a holdback for any unexpected growth. As you can see, even in the weighted category, that includes your ESE programs, that's where you weight the students based on the level of need. And you can see the change between the first calculation and the third calculation is 15,291. How that affects all school districts across the state is that, as you can see, as you go down here, the net state, and we're just talking about the state's portion of funding. There's two components to your FEFP program. You have a state portion, you have a local component. Of the net state FEFP, they allocated $7.5 billion roughly. Now, if you take the first calculation, unweighted FTE, you divide, well, you take your net state, FEFP, $7.5 billion, you divide it by unweighted FTE, that's roughly what you have there for your net FEFP per unweighted FTE student. But now that we're growing faster than what the state actually projected statewide, now we have the same amount of money that we're working with. We still have $7.5 billion of state funding, but now I have to allocate that amount among more students. So it reduces the amount of money now that's coming in to school districts. That amount just for the state portion is, for unweighted FT, is $11.82 per unweighted FT. You'd look at that number, oh, that's nominal. Well, the magnitude of it statewide is $62.7 million. Our portion here in Osceola County is $1.3 million. They just took the funding away from us. I just want to show historically what actually has happened at the state level. And I really want to focus just on years 12, 13, 13, 14, and 14, 15. As you can see, we consistently, they underproject the true student growth. So last year we got hit with a proration of funds available. This year we got hit with another proration of funds available. So when we're presenting the budgets to you at the beginning of the year, we're operating with the assumption that we're going to have X amount of dollars. But really, by the end of the year, it's reduced because of these proration of funds available. And that's all I wanted to say under this topic, and I appreciate Mr. Thacker for allowing me to.
And that's good. Yes. I mean, to simplify everything, basically, if the state doesn't totally fund, or if they totally fund every dollar they have, when the growth comes along, we're too bad, so sad. So that's it. Just kind of, if our growth was much bigger than what it was, it gets to be a bigger problem. But just to kind of, but I guess the point is, totally out of our control. It's all mathematical, and I think if we were a declining county and they overfund us, good for us. We get to keep it. It's not like they go and claw that money back. So the fact that we are growth, it has an impact.
The underestimation is not as bad as it used to be. They used to underestimate by 60,000 students.
So thank you, Mr. Thacker. This is a good discussion, good information. Todd, before you run away though, you know, part of what we're here to do as well is to try to help fix things. And you know, obviously our hands are tied. We don't make these decisions, but I guess, is there anything that you think that the board could be doing in this regard? I mean,
not actually at your level, but you could influence the process a little bit.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Okay, what actually happens is the state, when they're doing their projections, they give you a model. Each district gets a model that they have to work around. And the model, there's like 8 different models. And what they require you to do is pick what they think your projections are going to be among one of those models. What happens in Osceola County, which is very unique, is that and I'm going to talk about the 2015-16 year school year coming up, they projected a growth for Osceola County of 600 students for next year. That was their highest model that they were using. I think there was 8 models, if I'm not mistaken. Was it 8 models, Jose? 8 models. So then what I have to do at the state, I go, well, I have to write a response that, well, your models aren't accurately projecting what's happening in Osceola County. So but what happens then, so I have to write a response that we're Belgium Community, Orange County, we're growing at we have tourism industry here. As you can see what's going on, so I write a little response, a rebuttal to their models and say, no, our projections are going to be more like 1,000 FTE for next year. So normally they accept that, but other districts have an issue that's not as the state is not as willing to accept if they're over projecting based on the model. Does that make sense? Because depending on the unique situations that are going on in a particular county, Us, we're unique because we are seeing the growth, but they base a lot of that on birth rates that happened 5 years ago. And most of our students, as you know, are coming in from other counties, so they're not actually born here. So a lot of that's based on birth rates. That happened 5 years ago.
So, you know, I asked that question. I knew there's nothing we could do here as far as a vote or anything's concerned, but there's things that we can do from, you know, we think about, we have identified issues with our capital funding, and then we look to try to figure out how do we work to help shape the conversation surrounding that. And I think, again, to Mr. Wheeler's point, this isn't anything new to us, but at the same time, it leaves us in a precarious situation to have to figure out how to deal with this. So I'm wondering if there's not something, this is the conversation for another day, that we look at from a legislative perspective.
We need to look at some of our, I think some of our connections at the DOE, and after this legislative session on it's done, we're probably going to make a couple trips up there where we can get a little more influence there.
Right. Yeah, because the target, they were off by like 11,000 students statewide, if I saw that slide correctly.
Yeah, for unweighted.
So that
unweighted.
just chop off a district or two in the state if you want to look at it. I mean, there's districts that are smaller than that. So, I mean, basically, they just missed 2 districts as a whole. I mean, so, yeah, a number of them, right?
But
really?
The Department of Education, really, if you really want to make any headway, you got to do it through the governor's office. That's who they take their marching orders from.
Well, but I'm talking about how they're doing projections and talk to it, just be able to get. I agree. They're not.
You can tell them, but you're assuming they're going to understand what you're talking about.
Well, I will say this. I think, Mr. Thacker, you're an excellent person to help kind of lead and shape this charge. I mean, you've got a really robust background and understanding of the nuances of these type of things. So I would personally benefit from your expertise in this area.
Small words, speak slow, and use color-coded paper if you got more than one topic.
I'm bringing my Shazam sticker. I'm going to get a T-shirt with that on the back.
Thank you, Todd. Anything else? No. Okay. Board, any comments, committee reports, anything you need to update the board on that you're involved with? Okay. If not, I will just let you know as well that on March 31st at Liberty High School, there is a resource fair for ESE students. So if you want to attend that, you're welcome to. And then again on April 2nd at Gateway High School, I'm sure you already have information on it, but you want to make sure that you're considering those in your schedule as well. At this time, we will recess upstairs for our executive session. The board will reconvene afterwards for the adjournment of our meeting. So we'll stand in recess at this time.
Can I take this puppy to my car and come back in?
Are we all coming back here?
If there's something to vote on, it's just